Start over here.
Diane, could you talk to the difference between newspapers then and now, and the level of detail, the names of the woman who ran the lunch counter, and things like that you saw there? Would you see that today?
Because I'm old enough to remember, right?
Just from your research.
Working in New York with the Herald Tribune was wonderful training ground for me, and it was a time where there was almost unlimited space in newspapers for stories, for trials, for great, wonderful detailed reporting. Somebody I might recommend to you, you might want to look at, and this is pre-Capote, is Meyer Berger's reporting on the Howard Unruh murders in 1949. He won the Pulitzer in 1954, his reporting. You can look it up for Meyer Berger, New York Times, Pulitzer. And it's just magnificent reporting and unlimited space. And that's what's missing today. You don't have the space to do it. If you can cram it into 3 paragraphs, you've got a long story today. I don't like it. I often fought it. Another thing that has happened is that the editors have taken over. Newspapers tend, so many of them tend to read, every story reads alike because they'll go through an editor who thinks he or she knows better and how it should be written and so on. I love to let reporters have at it. Let them report it the way they saw it. They're the ones on the story. Except when you write about chemicals. That's an inside joke. Yeah, first year.
Yeah, I'm just curious, when you were doing your research on Theora Hicks' victim, did you happen to find out how many female students were enrolled at OSU's College of Medicine at that time? Was she the only one?
No, I don't think she was the only one. I know there were only 1,400 students on campus at the time. So it couldn't have been very many in the vet school.
No, she wasn't in vet school.
I mean in medical school.
Yeah, I didn't think there were very many medical doctors who were women at that time. So
Probably not.
Unique.
Yeah. Back here.
Did you think it was odd that Anne Marie Hahn arrived in the United States the same year that Dr. Smith committed the murder?
No. Nice try. No. I was one era going into another. That's about the only attention that I paid to it. Yeah. Yes.
He was the gold medalist in the Olympics.
Yes.
Was there much like today when Apollo Ono or something wins a gold medal? It's a big thing. Was he a media star?
No, hardly. Couldn't find anything on it.
Really?
I found the records of, well, he was a team member in the shooting team, USA shooting team. All I could find out is that they won. They won the medal. I thought perhaps he would have a ride down this main street of Lebanon, Ohio, where he came from, but I couldn't find it.
No interviews with him about
No,
the Olympics?
no, nothing in the archives at Ohio State. Probably there's something there somewhere, but I didn't find it. Paul.
Where was the New York Central Rifle Wing? Is that where I was?
Yes, across the river, McKinley and Fisher. And Fisher. What's that little town over there on the other side? Santa Margarita, right. It's near there.
It's near where the police academy is now.
Right.
Am I right, man? Down there.
The rifle range is a little overgrown, but the police department still has it today, and they use it for various functions and storage and what have you, meetings.
Are there any records that you're aware of that the governor made about his conversation with Mrs. Snow before Snow was executed?
She did make her plea to the governor, but there was no reporting as to what exactly was said. Of course, it was after the trial, so there was no trial testimony. It was just what reporters were able to pick up, and they did not report, as far as I know, on that meeting. They reported that the meeting took place, but the details of the meeting, no.
So everything you write in the books has been researched. Like when you say that Fred Swing had just seen angels with dirty faces, I know you could see what was playing, but how would you know that he actually just saw it?
I didn't quite get the last part. How did I know what?
That he had actually seen the movie.
That's the one little sentence that I found that the coroner had been at the movies before, at the Palace Theater before going to the witness at the execution.
Everything's been documented.
Pardon?
Everything in this and other true crime books has been documented.
Yeah, I can back up everything in there, yeah. Yes?
That gives me an opening for my question. I'm a historian. I've never read any creative nonfiction, but I'm fascinated by the idea. And so I wonder if you could maybe talk a little bit about the difference between creative nonfiction and history writing.
They're very similar. I mean, I've done a number of history books. In so many ways, they're alike. To do creative nonfiction, you're just adding another element to the history. And sometimes you can do it, and sometimes you can't. And in both of my books on true crime, there are passages and parts of it that stick strictly to the facts, and you can't you can be creative, but you can't put it in the context of nonfiction, historic nonfiction. Creative nonfiction is different from historic nonfiction. And I think it's looking for the little elements of what's going on around the history. I'm trying to think of some examples of history books that do it, but I can't, perhaps you can, that do creative nonfiction in writing history. I can't think of anything come to mind, but it's certainly out there somewhere. I don't know if that really answers your question, but I think it's searching for more than just the date and the facts. What else is happening? Who is there? Who's listening? Who's saying what? What's happening in the land, the temperature, the building, everything is surrounding the whatever it is that you're writing. It's going the extra mile, so to speak. There was a question over here.
I think all of that enriches your sense of character, too, which is important. But my real question is, if you were writing about a contemporary crime, which I sincerely hope you are, it seems to me that your sources would really have dwindled down to practically nothing. When I was a kid, there were 3 papers in the city of Columbus, Ohio, for example. Would you be stuck just with court records?
Well, one of the things that I didn't have the luxury of, like Capote did, there was nobody alive to talk to. So you could give up some newspaper reports in favor of speaking to the actual killer or prosecutor or police or family and so forth and so on. I had none of that. I had to create that out of whole cloth or whatever facts I could determine. By the way, Snook was related to the John Rockefeller family. That's in the book. But yeah, today you can't get the newspapers to give the detail. The bigger the case, the more that you'd find. But still, you could turn around and go around the corner and talk to the drugstore manager who sold the drugs that killed so-and-so, you know. It's kind of, I think it's kind of easier that way, but not as much fun.